All thoughts and opinions expressed on WRHU's Queerly Informed do not reflect the views of Hofstra University, the Board of Trustees, or Radio Hofstra University. All contrasting thoughts or suggestions can be sent to programming@wrhu.org or to room 127 Herbert Hall, 111 Hofstra University, Hempstead, New York, 11549. Welcome to an interview installation of Queerly Informed. I'm Camryn Bowden. Thank you for joining us. On this week's Pride feature, I'm sitting down with Micaela Delgado, a musician, filmmaker, interviewer, and multi-skilled talent. Micaela is a music business and film studies and production double major and had worked on projects like her own films, the Heat Network show Up All Night, Artist Amplifier here on WRHU FM, and plenty more. In this Pride feature, we discuss her identity, her life, her experience, and her future. Micaela, thanks for joining us.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. And it's crazy to hear my description back at me, a bio of myself.
Well, you know you're graduating now, so this is exciting.
It is exciting.
What's next for Micaela Delgado
Before
we go all the way back to the beginning?
Of course. Well, all I know is that I am moving in with a good friend of mine, Sarah Bowles, who started Artist Amplifier here at WRHU, and I'm staying in New York. And I have a couple part-time jobs, and I'm hoping to land a full-time one.
City of Dreams. All right. Well, let's get started with your film studies and production side of things. So you are a film studies and production major. Where does your inspiration for film come from?
I've had an internal struggle with film in general because I don't see myself as a director. And this film studies and production, or at least filmmaking here, is very centered around the director and you going in this path. So I've only really truly connected with film when it comes to the image. I'm more interested in DPing, if anything, like being the person to shoot it. So I guess in the couple of my films, I've decided to both direct and shoot it because that's the one time where I feel like I have focus. I think some directors have focus outside of that. But like any other artist, I take art and I draw inspiration from art and music, or like physical art or sculpture or other movies, people, conversations.
What are some of those movie inspirations as a lesbian, but also just as a person in general?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I draw a lot of inspiration from the Before trilogy with Ethan Hawke, in terms of just like dialogue and like character driven stuff. But I mean, I've grown up with queer media for my entire life. I mean, well, it feels like my entire life, but truly, as you know, there's not a lot of it, or there's a lot more of it now, let's just say, than when we were growing up. So I think that we also grew up at a very specific time where we had the iPod, but we didn't have like a phone. And then we had a phone and it was like, okay, cool. So finding search engine, just any gay show, any like YouTube compilation or whatever, and you find people and you find characters that you can relate to. And as queer media is concerned, I think Glee was my first like true lesbian character, Santana Lopez, and that I could really relate to on the level of like being Hispanic, being a lesbian, being more feminine. I mean, I don't know if I look it now, but I definitely grew up a lot more feminine than I am presenting now.
So when it comes to being queer, being a lesbian in the film space, do you feel like you include anything more queer oriented when you're working on a film set, or when you're, whether that be directing your own film or in the DP phase or whatever it might be? Do you feel like you're kind of imbuing any queer themes through that, or not necessarily?
Yes and no. Like, I think that I guess in terms of comparison, if you're growing up a white, cis, straight man, let's just say, like, you have all of these inspirations, but you don't have any barriers to those inspirations. Like, you have nothing holding yourself back in a lot of ways. But when you're a lesbian growing up and watching the same media, you're not seeing things that like these other people are seeing. You're seeing another perspective that I think is very, very interesting. And I think in and itself is very experimental, could be, or just because you're forced to look at it from a different angle and a different lens, you're forced to look at everything from a different angle and a different lens. So I think that with that comes a huge creative force that I think a lot of women have, and queer women, and just anyone who's had some sort of barrier pushing them past in a different way than that white men centered thing. That's going to bring a lot of new things. So I do think that with the projects that I make, maybe there's queer undertones, especially this project I just did this past weekend for my experimental class. It's about postpartum depression and childhood and womanhood. And I don't know if there's specific queer undertones, but I mean, only a woman could understand that.
Absolutely. What do you think the importance of having that multi-perspectivity on a film set is? Like, what's the meat and bones of having people of a bunch of different backgrounds on a film set influencing kind of the outcome of a project?
I mean, you're going to have a way more interesting project. That's like for sure. I think that Professor Dorsett here says that your film on camera and off camera should look like a crayon box. Like, it should be all over the place. It should have so many people's perspectives, so many different struggles. And with those, you're meeting and you're collaborating in just such a specific cosmic way that so much cool stuff is going to come out of it. Like, so much is, the opportunities are endless whenever you don't have the same starting point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. From your experience, is it difficult for a queer person to break into the film creation space? Have you had any experience there where you've seen maybe some of the difficulties or maybe some of the more easy aspects of it for queer people, for lesbians?
Yeah, I think it's more rooted in misogyny than my sexual orientation at that point. Like, I think that in a boys club world, you want to like make films with your guys and whatever. And for this department being mainly men, and only one female film professor, one TV female professor. Yeah, Kelsey Edwards. Like, the film and TV, those are very limited in that like feminine space and feminine energy. So I think there's probably some things there. I might have to read in a little bit more about any queer
barriers.
Barriers. Yeah,
absolutely. So you're also, film studies. So there's that added component. Are there really great pieces of media that you have, viewed, that you've consumed, that you think aptly describe the lesbian, the queer experience? I know you mentioned Glee, which is a fun show.
Yes,
but are there other pieces of media that you've consumed that have that same kind of vibe?
Right, like more serious maybe. I think that there's always going to be like problematic showings. Not always. But when I am and do dabble and stuff, I think that Saving Face was one of the first lesbian romance movies I'd ever seen, and I was very shocked by it. It was a little ballerina and a surgeon, and they're meeting, and they have like this very, very strong Asian cultural background, and that's also a barrier, is coming from like a homophobic families and stuff, and there's that. But it didn't focus mainly on that. Like, that was an objective, but ultimately there wasn't an objective that they like sat in for too long. I mean, for the most part, I feel like it was a beautiful love story. I do. And it ended like that. And there's a couple other ones like that as well. But also a problematic one, but The Handmaiden. It's a Korean film. Lesbian. Definitely problematic to some. But I was like, hold on. This is a cinematic masterpiece. Like, truly beautifully shot. Korea does it best. So I was just shocked and happy to have that.
Yeah. When it comes to, and I guess this is more of a personal opinion, personal kind of piece, do you think having more overt queer themes or having more queer undertones is more impactful in a film? Do you think it's more important to focus on, oh, I'm queer and these are the struggles I face in a film, or I'm queer, but this is not the main story?
I'm over the struggle. I'm over the struggle so much, because especially right now, I know that like I've had my own struggles and everyone's had their struggles. Can we have a break and focus on something that's beautiful and awesome? Like, I don't want to like have my own struggles and battles and then turn on my favorite show and then see other people's struggles and battles with the same thing.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see more positive queer representation. I think I'm like, I have not caught up, so maybe I don't know yet, but The Pit, like just throwing in 2 gay characters as like, I mean, it's an ensemble cast, but they're a part of the ensemble. There are no side characters or anything. Grey's Anatomy, if you don't pay attention to the problematic stuff with that, for the most part, the gay characters, especially in the later seasons too, are more, this is me, and this is my job, and this is that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there maybe any examples that you can think of that are poor representations of the lesbian community on film, in TV?
I mean, shoot, like it's a common trope for, I can bring up specific characters, but it is also a common trope in any TV show, long-standing, mainly TV shows, that a woman character or a man it's always a woman character actually, will try out gay, or they'll go to a party and be lesbian for a night. And I'm really over that trope, and that does like still show up in modern media, which is really interesting to me. Or just like one maybe like relationship for a little bit and then staying with a man for the remainder of the season or series. I think that the L word is also pretty problematic and also awesome representation, but I mean, is the representation good or is it just representation?
Yeah.
So there's that to talk about. I haven't seen all of the L word because I was really annoyed about it. But yeah, I guess that would be an anti one. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't we branch over into your music business major and the music side of things? Because you are a musician. You're playing at a show this upcoming week, which is very exciting. But before we talk about your music and being in a band and whatnot, let's talk about music business. So I'm interested. Where is that something that? Is the inspiration? What helped you realize like, oh, this is something I'm interested in doing?
Well, I specifically like shot for like pinpoint music supervision to be my like ultimate goal, which is copyright licensing and choosing of songs for media, period. So TV, film, ad agencies have different sectors of that, like any visual media, and then putting music to that. So I've always been very interested in that. Most of my internships have been around copyright, licensing, any of that. And that's why I chose the double major, to like understand on more of the study side of film, understand the choices of music. And I also just love film so much, and TV, episodic TV. I love episodic TV. And music, which as I didn't come from a musical family, I made music happen for myself. Like 6th grade started alto sax and just kept like worked so much and kept buying instruments over. Like I have a bunch of instruments now. So I had to grow a love for that. And I think that if it comes easy to you, it's awesome and that's beautiful. But what's also awesome and beautiful is if something comes hard, and it's hard, it's a struggle to do something, and the accomplishment that you feel after you struggle to do something and keep wanting to struggle, like that's your chosen path.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to keep struggling in, like that's what you want to do. And that's music for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So a marrying of those two interests with film and music business in that way. So you mentioned music supervision. How accepting has, in your experience through your internships, the music business space been to people who are queer, to people who are women? Like, how does that kind of translate?
You know what's kind of serendipitous about that specifically is that out of every sector in the music business, it's probably the most female-driven ever, actually, which is kind of insane. If you ask anyone in the music business, they'll probably say the same. Most music houses are mainly female, which it comes from a long history. I learned this. It comes up from a long history of record labels and the grunt work being given to the secretary and the secretary being female. So whenever you keep passing it down, it's just like a bunch of secretaries that know a lot about music acquisition and getting them for film and different ad agencies and stuff. So when all of them keep trickling down like that, but I didn't know that going into it at all. And then I had a few internships. One of them was mainly men, and then the other one was fully female team. But yeah, for the most part, it's pretty good. Other parts of the music business are definitely different, though.
Yeah.
100%. And I have worked in those sectors as well. Like, I'd say that live music is not friendly to a queer female. Like, it can be, but it's not. It's really, it's truly not. And then artist management, something where you have to, like, speak for someone, that also is a little rocky, especially if you're representing a man or a band, specifically bands. So I think that, like, female representation is just so unbelievably important for so many ways, and just, like, also artistically, so that when I started my own venue, every single show, it's required that there has to be a female-led or a female-all band. Has to be. And, like, that sounds like bare minimum, and it is bare minimum, but truly, there are not a lot out there because the space isn't made for them.
Yeah.
So they have to, like, keep pushing that and, like, they know that that's the path, and that's why they keep fighting for it.
And just like you said, it's if you keep fighting for it, if you're going through the hard stuff and you're still passionate about it, it's obviously what you want to do. So,
definitely.
Absolutely. Have you noticed over the past, maybe 2-5 years, an uptick in the number of female-oriented, female-led bands that have gotten popularity, that have grown sort of in there? I know we're kind of branching away from the artist supervision side of stuff, but from your perspective.
Well, it's so funny because women usually, like, front the money in the music industry. Like, it's mainly, like, it's, like, Beyonce, Britney Spears, any of the leads now. If you look at country, maybe Kelsey Ballerini. If you look at pop, maybe it's Charlie XCX. That's more dance pop. But, like, they're mainly women, which is very interesting to me. But, like, here are the superstars at the top, and then everything else is hard to get there.
Yeah.
So, like, the women that are paving the way are truly, like, 1 in a million. Like, men, there is infinitely more men in this middle space. And then there's, like, these like, group of people that have made it, that are, like, apart from, like, the Drake and the Yeet and the whatever men thing, like, these women are the front of the music business. So I think that in the last 5 years, this middle ground has gotten a little better, and seeing a lot more developing and mid-tier artists being female and trying to, like, go up and reach up higher and higher. And I think it honestly comes down to the, like, anti-paparazzi feel of our generation, and just, like, not idolizing, this one person made it. Beyonce made it because her dad was a record label or producer. That's why she made it. Like, Britney Spears made it because she was at Disney or whatever the case is. I don't even know if Britney Spears was on Disney, actually.
But Breakfast Club, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Club. Yep.
Okay, yes. Miley Cyrus, like, she only got it because this. Like, It's always like she only got it because of this. But now it's like, wow, Tate McRae, what is she doing up there? Like, she's a dancer and now she's a pop star. Okay, that's interesting. And then, like, even, like, in the more mid-tier but, like, still kind of superstar level, like the Marias, like, that's awesome. And where does she come from? Nothing. Like, she came from a band in, like, high school, I think, the same band that she's with right now currently, and she just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. So you're seeing, like, you're getting a little bit more honesty about, like, these artists and these, like, female artists can make it from nothing, so I can do that. And, like, that's always been the case with, like, Kurt Cobain and they just, like, started a band and they had a vision and they were able to do this and that. Like, you didn't see people saying that about Lauryn Hill.
Yeah.
When she, like, did the same thing and she revolutionized everything, every genre, I feel like, pop, R&B, whatever you want to call it. But, like, yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit more honesty happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's actually talk about an artist who you've managed for in the past, Lydia Van Hoff. You've artist managed for. What about her inspired you to get involved in her team and to assist her as obviously a budding musician, a budding talent in the space?
Yeah, I mean, she's amazing. She's also, I had a class, artist management, taught by Terry Tompkins, the program coordinator here at Hofstra. And our entire thing for that class is to find an artist and work with them as a manager. You didn't have to follow them afterwards, but we ended up doing that. So it was like a team of 3. It was me, Megan Penny, and Lucy Flynn. And we went on everything. We went on TikTok, Instagram, all the things, looking for queer female artists. Like, we specifically looked for that because we were like, let's bring them up. Like, we as a trio are coincidentally all lesbian women. So we were like, okay, let's bring the passion going. So Lydia, sorry, Lydia says, or she labels herself as queer. And that was one of the things that we noticed first with her song Lady Kisses. And I'm really glad that we got to manage her in that space, and then also continue managing her, bringing her to Unispan Records, the student-run record label here, and created 2 music videos, a bunch of photo shoots and press releases and so many things and so many cool things. And now she's got over 1 million streams on one of her singles for the new album, when she started at 500 monthly listeners, and like seeing her now like 500K or something like that. Like, that's awesome. And she's going and touring. She's going to Houston in a month. Like, whoa. She's from Long Island originally. She's from Colmac. So it's just really awesome to see that kind of progress that I've been talking about, like uplifting female queer artists, and then seeing them go and go and go, chaperone, like go and go and go and go. Like, people, there's an audience for it.
Yeah. Are there other queer artists, other female queer artists that you can think of that you feel like have been able to market themselves as queer and succeed? Other than Chaperone, I know we mentioned that she's a huge artist in the space, but are there other artists that you can think of that?
Yeah, I mean, Kehlani, yeah, she's awesome. She is not hiding away from anything. Also, Kaylee Kiyoko is coming out with Girls Like Girls, a movie. Yeah. And that was like, for any gay anything, Girls Like Girls when they were young, like that was on repeat, truly, like, if like, that's something to like cry about. Like, oh my God, like seeing this as a movie is amazing. So Haley Kiyoko was like very early on the like, yeah, I'm gay and I was on Lemonade Mouth and I'm making this now and whatever. But yeah, there's that. And it's exciting to see in a lot of different places. I mean, Missy Elliott also was probably on the forefront there too, you know. Of course there's always a before the now.
Sure.
So yeah, very interesting.
All right, well, let's branch into your music as we get into the final third, I guess, of our conversation. Cool. Your band, your music. So you are in a band called Formed on Monday. Yeah. Which I'm assuming was formed on a Monday. Yep. Yeah. Love it. So you've also mentioned that you play a lot of instruments. You mentioned saxophone. Yeah. Who are some of your musical inspirations that sort of you relate to, that you kind of connect with most, that inspires sort of how you approach music and performance?
That's a really great question. I think that I don't write lyrics, but like for some reason I am drawn mainly to like lyrical artists. Okay. But more so like entrepreneurial feels to these artists. So like if I were to name off the 3 most inspirational artists for me, it's probably Lauryn Hill, number 1. And then lyrically Fiona Apple.
Okay, yeah.
Very, very, very great. And then like honestly, Lana Del Rey. Like Lana Del Rey actually, like that, I mean, she's kind of goofy and she's coming out with these like long, everyone's always joking about the titles. It's like it's sounding witchy and whatever, but like her or Ariana Grande are like my girls. But they like, what they all have in common is experimentation. Rosalia too. Whoa, huge. Oh my God. Rosalia's up there. Rosalia's up there with Lauryn Hill. Like, truly, truly, truly. Because they're going out there and they're like, Doechii too. Like, this is my box. This is where people want to see me in this section. And then this is what I want to do. Like, you're looking at Doechii's Boom Bap. That whole idea in that song, boom, like revolutionary. So I guess what I take from that into me is that they're not trying to be like a... kind of like how Kristen Stewart said in that one interview, like, you don't see female actresses go method. Like,
Yeah.
you don't see that happen. Like, you don't see, like, you're not going to see a woman like, oh, yeah, I want to be, like, an expert, like, the best person. Like, that's such a male-centric, like, idea to be, like, the best one and, like, only someone can do this. Why can't you just be, like, across the board, you're nailing it. You're producing your own stuff. You're understanding it. You're through line. You're all of these different things. And then you're coming together. You're making this perfect, like, amalgamation of everything. But you're not trying to strive to be, like, yeah, I'm going to beat everyone else. Like, it doesn't matter about everyone else. You're making this product for you. And it's also internal. And that's, like, that's so beautiful about, like, women is that it's internal, not external. Like, it's not, I'm trying to be the best because I'm trying to beat Drake. I'm trying to beat, like, these streaming numbers from Ariana Grande or this, like, this. And then, like, I'm trying to make the best album for this section of my life. And they'll describe it, like being someone that, like, interviews artists, like, they'll describe it as, like, this section of their life that meant so much to them, and it's a time capsule, and it's everything that they could have wished for in this one thing. And then, like, men will describe it as like yes, it was the time that we did this sound the best, and then we went to a different sound, but we like it's different. It's different. So I look up to a lot of, like, female pop acts, those ones that I mentioned, for always striving to learn and striving to make just the best part of who they are in that moment.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that because our only other Pride feature on the platform is with Riley Kelly, who you recently interviewed on Artist Amplifier, who we love. And she said a very similar thing that at the time her only album out was Saturn, and Saturn was this sort of time capsule of how she was in this one period. And now she has Pink Heart, which is a completely different vibe, completely like 180 almost. So interesting you say that. What about your band? Are these some of the genres that you personally consume? Some of these artists who are really trying to capture one point in their life, are these some of the artists that your band, the music that your band plays?
Yeah, like, we come from a lot of, like, different musical inspirations, but where we meet in the middle is probably Paramore.
Oh, love it. Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, if that was the one to have in the middle, that would be the one. Yeah, I think most of our set list is from a female vocalist or artist. The only ones apart from that are, like, Michael Jackson, Bruno Mars. So, I mean, but our lead singer is a woman, Bridget Sawyer, and I'm there to kind of, like, pave the way too. But yeah, I think that we all as musicians in the band respect women and, like, respect, like, yeah, like, this is a fire sound. Like, one of the people in the band, Jake, one of his favorite artists ever is Sabrina Carpenter. Like, that's awesome. And this guy, he's, like, sports media, and he's, like, the drummer, and you would expect, like, a different feel about that description. And then he's like, can we play Man-Child? I really want to play Man-Child. And so we're playing Man-Child. Like, that's awesome. But yeah, so it's really exciting to have, like, a spirit and a support coming from the band in all ways, all fronts.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for tuning into Queerly Informed this week here on 88.7 FM Radio Hofstra University, Spotify, YouTube, and iTunes. Thank you to the entire Queerly Informed team for your work on this week's edition. Also, a huge thank you goes out to Micaela Delgado for joining us on today's Queerly Informed Pride feature. Join us back here next week to hear the latest in queer news, as well as commentary from our group of LGBTQ reporters. As always, if you have any suggestions for content or stories that you'd like to hear, send them our way through email at queerlyinformedwrhu@gmail.com. For Queerly Informed, I'm Camryn Bowden. Thank you for joining us.